What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Mike Robinson, and this is another episode of Let's Take a Walk. I hope everybody had an amazing week. I definitely did. Tonight, as we do every night, we come on here. We try to get the most interesting guests that we possibly can, and tonight is no different. This young lady is a public servant. She is a councilwoman. She's a business owner. She is a community advocate slash activist. You name it, she does it. She's a pillar of her community. She's a staple in the community. If you live in the Newport News area, you probably have to be living under a rock not to know who this young lady is. Tonight we have Councilwoman Tina Vick on the platform. This powerful, amazing, busy lady agreed to come on the platform and just chit chat with us a little bit, and just to tell us a little bit about, what she's been up to and what she's doing and what her, goals are as far as the community and as far as her business and movement is concerned. For those of you who may not be familiar with Miss Vick, I'm going to give her a moment to kind of reintroduce herself and just give a little background of who she is and some of the things that she has going on. So with that being said, Councilwoman, you have the floor.
Well, thank you, Mr. Robinson. Well, I want to say, Mr. Mike, and thank you for even having this platform. Before I even start, I don't know if you know, I went to college to be a news reporter. So, of course, when
Wow.
I did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. And
I
I've
I I
done my
I, I,
research, but I
stu-
didn't see that. Okay.
I studied at Virginia Commonwealth University to become a news reporter. So I'm always excited about people like you who will carry the message for the people who really need it. So I thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm so excited to be here, and I love the fact that you are just so um, just out there in the community yourself with your
Thank
media platform. I really appreciate that because, so many times we can do the work, but if we don't have anybody to carry the message, only the people that are small number of people who may be impacted wouldn't really know what's going on. So yes, I am Tina Vick. I am born and raised here in the great city of Newport News. I am a graduate of Ferguson High School, which is now no longer no more, but I carry that spirit. I'm a graduate also. I went to Virginia Commonwealth University in 1980 to get my doctorate, I'm sorry, my bachelor's degree in communications, because I too, like you, love the media and wanted to be a news reporter. But all of my stories that I did when I was at VCU were really about um, social issues, about homelessness. They were about people who couldn't find jobs, people who just couldn't connect to what the customary way of life was in America. And so that led me to, after graduation, to be able to come home and work in the private sector, working with private sector people, working with public society, working with pregnant teens for this program to help these pregnant teens understand the relationship with their doctors, with their primary caregivers, and then moving on to working with people in uh, so many other facets as it led to not only pregnant teens, but juvenile offenders, and just being able to work with a program to help those young, particularly young boys, but there were a few females, understand the importance of not getting involved in the legal system. And that was very important to me. So that job took me all the way out to New Orleans, Louisiana, where I continued my work with that, but also being able to become an administrator of that program, to be able to look at how can we effectively minimize the young people who are getting off track to go into that life of crime. And so and that was during the 90s. But then
Hmm.
spiraled back, my mom's health started failing. I had to come back home. And so I started substitute teaching, but that also took me into a entirely different realm, which was looking at how can we effectively make impact, particularly as Black people, make an impact in government, particularly local government. And so I was very adamant about doing that. I also got into real estate. I became a real estate broker because the issue of housing is very real in our communities, because we are so subject to being able to be a part of the system as opposed to being a part of homeownership. And that is what I coupled that with. And so with that myriad of all those things going on, that led me to really, when there was a seat open on the city council, I had already been involved in the community. So many people were coming to support me in 2008, as I put it on the timeline. And so in 2008, I ran my first campaign. I ran my first campaign, and I did not come from up from a political family, but I came from a mom. This is what's so special to me. I came from a mom who always made sure we got out to vote. She always made us get out to vote. And so I came from a mom that was very adamant about that. So I ran my first campaign, and needless to say, it was the first campaign that I ran, but it was also during the Michael Vick dogfighting thing. And for those of you who may not know, Michael Vick is my nephew. So it was very hard running my first campaign during that time. It was a very hard time on the Vick family. And so I still won because there were so many people in the community that really felt like, from the area that I represented, the South District, that he had had an unfair deal. So when I knocked on doors, they were saying, yeah, yeah, we're going to vote for you because we felt like they did Michael Vick wrong. And so I thought that was going to deter me from winning, but I got out there anyway, and it turned into an entirely different script that I had so much support. And I ended up winning my first campaign in 2008. And that is what really started the pendulum of my life in politics, which I am 16 years later, still here to be able to be a voice for the community, and to even look at my community now, the area that I was fighting for, to see all of the new housing that we've gotten in my district, to be able to see all the programs for to connect people with job training, and to increase the people, to make them understand how to make their lives better. Like that is what I got in it for. To
Hmm.
not just sit here and be a person with a seat, but to be able to make people's lives better. And so that is why I am still in my pride and joy and glory 16 years later, as I stand at 25th and Jefferson now, which I was so mad about how 25th and Jefferson was looking. When you stood there and looked up, all that ugly wiring hanging down, the poles, the electric poles caving in. But to stand there now, because I was running mad about that, because I was like, somebody gonna do something about that, and it ended up being me. So to stand there now, Michael, to stand at 25th and Jefferson now, as opposed to when I ran in 2008, when I tell you, because of all the infrastructure improvements that we've been able to do as a city, when I tell you it does my heart so much good to be able to stand there now and look at it, and just be able to, ex- I don't even know the word, to be able to absorb the fact that we've been able to do much more to make people feel better because our community looks better. And so I'm just been absorbed in that to know that this is what happens when people don't understand what it means to really have a seat at the table.
Mhm. That is amazing. Um, Not being a native of Newport News, Virginia,
Oh wait,
um,
shame on you.
I'm
Shame on you. No, I'm just
listen.
kidding. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Not being a native of Newport News, Virginia. I just kind of um, when I got here, I came in the military. I'm actually from upstate New York. Um, I heard the legends of the Allen Iversons and the Michael Vicks and Bruce Smiths and I mean the list goes on and on and on. And as the years progressed, I feel more and more like a citizen. Like I've been here since 2003. So I feel more like a Virginian, a Virginian. So
That's
their
great.
successes,
That's
yeah. So I
great.
feel like their successes are my successes as well.
Oh my God.
I feel proud for that too. Um, I wasn't, and to be, if I'm being transparent, I was purposely going to try. I was purposely going to steer clear of all the Mike Vick um, talks because I didn't want you to feel like I was trying to create some type of, what I mean, some type of moment. I won't, it's fine. It's fine that you brought it up, but I wasn't going to. I just wanted to let you know I wasn't going to bring that up.
Well,
Um,
I gotta tell you this. As Michael Vick's aunt, his mom is my sister. I love talking about Michael Vick.
okay.
I love because but and I love talking about the so I'm very transparent. I love talking about because I think life for people, when you're trying to give a message to people, people don't really want to act like this is what I feel. People don't really want to hear a story that everything's just been perfect, perfect
Mhm.
Patty, perfect this. People want to know the real life story of the ups and downs and everything. And that's what I have live my life on. And of course, Michael Vick has too, because our life is very transparent. And so, whatever you want to ask, Michael, you're free to ask because my life is an open book. I'm going to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So, whatever you want to do, we can talk about it on on your show because I love your
Okay.
show.
Okay. I appreciate that. Um, well, speaking of, um, everybody has seen that Michael Vick has been installed as the new head football coach at Norfolk State University. I saw like a brief. I don't think it's maybe not a documentary, but more so like a behind the scenes type of thing. And I saw you on that where they were, I guess, doing spring practice and people were there. And I saw Allen Iverson and Keyshawn Davis and those guys were all there. Um, what did that mean for you? Like I know that that was I can imagine what it was like for him to be asked, but just what did that feel like for you? Did that feel like um what's the word? Do you feel like your family got a second chance? Was that emblematic of a second chance? Is I guess is what I'm trying to ask.
Well, for me, I just have to say, and if you go back and look at the interview on the 30 for 30 where they interviewed my nephew, they featured me on there. And so for me, Michael Vick, my nephew, for me, him being appointed as the coach at Norfolk State really shows that the people believe in him,
Mm-hmm.
that they are looking for something to be able to ignite. That's the word. To be able to ignite so much in these young players who are really looking for their chance at stardom, and
Hmm.
particularly as he has been appointed to Norfolk State in close proximity to where I'm sitting now in my house, where we grew up in really circle. I built my house here. So it's so close to our downtown, where we live. But I think the thing with him being appointed to that position, what I think about it, Michael, is the biggest thing as you are on the field and hear those young guys saying, this is the and this is the not only inspirational thing to those boys, but the emotional thing to me as his aunt, you know, is still in close proximity to the area where we grew up, where people counted us down and out.
Hmm.
A low income area, public housing. Who in the world gonna notice these folks in public housing? Black folks. Who's gonna notice us? But look what happened. Just like that scripture from that Bible that says Jesus came from Nazareth, this little poor town. He came from a poor town, and the saying was, "What good comes out of Nazareth?"
Mm.
And I have to pose that question, as they have belittled us so much downtown, and then you got the Michael Vick, then you got that coach Elton Brown. He's from really circle. Then you got Marcus out there. Then you got all of us. I pose that question because God can do some amazing things when
Absolutely.
somebody thinks, when people say, and I have lived this all my life. When people say what good can come out of a low income area, you better watch out, because that's a powerhouse team of coaches that came out of Nazareth, really circle, downtown. And they're going to, and then when you hear these little boys so excited about, because now these little boys from downtown, Michael Vick is in reach of them. Elton Brown is in reach of them. Marcus is in reach of them. Can you imagine, like that? Some of them out there, are, as I was out there on the field, they're saying, "Oh, can you imagine getting a call from uh, this person and saying, this Michael Vick, asking, do you want to be on my team?" Can you imagine getting that call, Michael?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God! So, oh my God, I can't even imagine getting a call. So for me, it is it is just a huge inspiration to what can happen when the people who have made it don't just keep soaring up and going this way and that way, but they circle back around and come to their community. That's what I love. That's why I live in my community. Some people even ask me, Tina, Vick, girl, why you built your house downtown? Built my house downtown because I love when these little girls and boys walk past, and they would say, "Miss Tina Vick, can I come look through your house?" Because I want them to understand that y'all don't have to stay in public housing. You don't have to stay in all this little stuff. That with education and job training and a hard work ethic, you can change the trajectory of your life. And
That's
that's what we've done as a Vic family.
that's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, so back to the Tina Vick platform, the political platform. Um, when I have people on, I try to immerse myself in their life. Like I look at maybe prior interviews that they've done or stuff that they've said, even posts that they've done on social media, different things like that. And one thing that I one thing that I saw was your passion, and we can even hear it, you know, in how you talk about Newport News and how you talk about your nephew and all that. One thing I really noticed was the passion for the community and rebuilding or cleaning up or repairing the areas that may be, somewhat run down.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now that you are in that political, because one minute, in one point you're a citizen,
Right.
but then you kind of get behind the curtain as a councilwoman serving, kind of seeing how the political how the process goes when it comes to trying to better the community. um what was what was your initial, um how much of a challenge was it? How much of a challenge was making progress? Were people receptive to you right off the bat, or was that something that you kind of had to build over time for people to, I guess, maybe trust you in that sector to be able to make the strides that you've made?
I think the biggest thing, Michael, it goes back to my history of my professional life. After college in my 20s, I I was substitute teaching a little bit because I couldn't find a job. I I found a job working with pregnant teens to work with a program that helped to eliminate the low birth weights in the state of Virginia that was really under the former governor Chuck Robb's wife, Linda Robb, with a Resource Mother program. And so we were taking these young pregnant teens to the doctors because they were missing their doctor's appointments and it caused low birth weights. Then I graduated on, started working with juvenile offenders, and that job with the Peninsula Marine Institute, and that job took me all the way out to New Orleans, where I was working as the family services coordinator to be able to get kids in the program, to be able to help them get in a program, a day treatment program that would help them understand that crime is not the answer.
Right.
Crime is just not the answer. You have to get your education. You have to, stay away from those streets and understand that, if you choose that life, you might make some money, but it usually goes to nowhere fast. And so even after that, my mom's health started failing, so I had to come back here to Virginia, and I worked a little bit with the program, and then Michael Vick became a star, so we worked with some of you know his fan club and everything. But then I transitioned into real estate, and that really opened my eyes, because the sad part about when you grow up in poverty, like my family did, once this was, and then mind you, Michael, this is me in my early 40s learning about real estate. It was just so, this is what pushes me to be able to, want to do more programs, and because the transformation of my mind, just the transformation of my mind, knowing about real estate, when you have only known about Section 8, public housing, rental, and
Mhm.
transform your mind to really real estate and ownership,
Mhm.
that was such a transformation for me to understand that people can actually get their credit right if it wasn't right, because mine wasn't right. Get your credit right and
Right.
actually own your own home. And as we're talking right now, I still can barely believe that I actually had my own house built after years of bad credit, not even understanding the process. And so that was such a enlightenment for me, like light bulbs on, to be able to transform to that. So that is what really ignited my um quest for even taking this even further, to be in public life. That, if let me tell you something, because I was such an advocate for community. So if I didn't know all of this, that means a lot of people don't know all of this. So that made me infuse my fire even more to actually become a person in government, not just for those things, but you know, I got to go back to 25th and Jefferson Avenue because I was so mad. I wish I had the picture, but I was so mad how 25th and Jefferson was looking after I had come back here from New Orleans. People were already in leadership, and all that ugly wiring hanging down, and the poles in like it looked like nobody cared about our community. We didn't have anything. We didn't have enough housing. So that really infused me to fight to get to this seat because I said somebody is going to do something about this. And I didn't realize the somebody would be me. And
Right.
the only reason I was able to help it even further because there were three other women on the council then, Councilwoman Sharon Scott, Councilwoman Madeline McMillan, and Councilwoman Pat Wilbury, because usually when you're on the council or anybody of government, you've got to get some other votes to help you support it. So they helped support me, and now to stand, we found money, the city manager found money, we've invested over $40 million in this new Jefferson Avenue corridor that looks totally different than when I ran for office. And then people even call me from Virginia Beach, girl, girl, we came downtown Newport News and we rode through there and we said, "Girl, that's that Tina Vick over there. That's Tina Vick do that." Because yeah, I love when they say that because we've got to have people in office who are not just gonna sit at the table and not be effective, but people who are gonna sit at the table and make things happen, which has been me. I'm not a person that's just gonna sit at the table and just like we're just gonna just wait and see what somebody else gonna do. No, I'm an action person. Somebody's gonna make our community look better. We're gonna bring better housing. You look at Brennan Point on 30th and Warwick. We provided new housing for all those families. Heritage Forest. You've got to ignite what I feel that God has blessed me with. You can't just sit at the table and just be the councilwoman. You have to have some action behind you so that you're not just running for office every time, that you can point to. You can literally point to, no, not literally, actually point to the things that you've had a hand in making change,
Mm-hmm.
not just for yourself. That housing make people's lives better, that our kids can go to school and know when they come home, they have a safe place to stay for our to be able to partner with our shipyard and other businesses to have people have jobs. That's what it's all about. And that's why I am so glad that the community has supported me to be able to actually be a person to implement these things that are imperative to making our communities better, particularly in our Black communities after we suffered years after the Great Depression of the ugliness of the redlining where the government purposely made our communities not have the necessities of what we're supposed to have.
Right. 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 I in all the improvement in the community, is there ever a fear that because let's face it, progress costs. Like you
Right,
said, you had to find funds here and there to create what you've been able to create. Is
right.
there ever a fear that that progress could actually become an impediment to the people that are already there? What I mean by that is that, we talk about gentrification in other
Right.
places like in New York, like in Brooklyn, places like that. They have revitalized the area, but they've done it in such a way that the people who are already there are now kind of forced to find, other places to live and different things like that. Is there ever, in this situation, is there ever a fear that the progress that you're making, while it is positive and good, could actually force people out of the community that they that they grew up in.
Oh, yeah, definitely, definitely. That's always a question mark, and it has happened over history. But the thing is, everybody's not going to catch on to the train of
Hmm.
progress. There are some people, and this is the thing that I have to say about that. There are some people that, because of, and this is my opinion, Michael, which I just feel so adamant about this. There are some people, because this is the thing, and I know you see it too when you come around Black communities. There are some people that, because of the ugliness of the redlining, when the government just put Black people in areas that we didn't have any service, no connectivity to jobs, job training, not even any connectivity to insurance or anything like that. So we could even, these are the options that we have as Black folk, and maybe other minorities, but particularly mostly not white. Either we can accept all the poverty and the Section 8, all this, and we can celebrate in Section 8, all that, and we and that because the thing about that Section 8 and all that stuff, that infiltrates your mind, that the government has put this here for you, so you don't even think about doing better.
Mm.
That's all you want, is some free this, free that, free food
Right.
stamps, free this, free that. And so you can either, we all have one or two choices. You can just accept all that free from the government, which is designed by design from that federal government, from that redlining. And that redlining, I gotta explain that redlining means the government has put this stuff in Black communities, so we won't want no better. We
Mm.
won't want no better. All we want is some free rent. We want some free food, and we want free. And we gonna sit at home every day, and we just gonna do whatever, and nothing's going to inspire us to do better, to make our own way. And
Mhm.
so I'm totally against that part. I will tell anybody I'm totally against that, because I'm for more of a structure that, at every time, and I've been there, that you might need some help. But I'm not for that system that government does to us, particularly in Black communities, that's going to make you just sit at home and not even be infused to do anything better, but to sit home and get a check, food stamps, and just not do anything better. And that's what it's designed to do. And that's what I have been doing more in our community. We have, as we're transitioning to our new Ridley Circle, our new apartments, Legacy Live, we have transitioned it. We won a $30 million grant to be able to put our housing in sections for the low income right now, but the apartments that are for working people, because we're encouraging them to work. But we also have a phase to be able to help people realize you can get into home ownership. Because why would you want to create a society that you're just gonna put a line somewhere in any city, not just Newport News, but any city, and you're gonna put a line somewhere, and you're gonna put this line here to say everybody from this line on back, we're not investing anything in them for them to even know how to do better, but just accept free government treat, free government cheese, free clothes, free housing, and so they don't have to work for nothing. No, I'm not for that. And that is part of the reason I'm glad I'm in office, because I'm so glad, because I'm not just telling people to do that. I'm an example myself. I grew up in public housing, but you think I'm gonna stay there? No, because we have to realize that it's up to us as the leadership to not allow our people to just accept all this free government cheese. That's what I call it. You're not going to keep accepting the free government cheese. At some point in your mind, you're going to want to do better and get your education, get some training, just as we have repurposed we brought Virginia Peninsula Community College down here on 16th Street, that people will be able to go here for classes. I will never accept, and make a long story short, I will never accept that we could use the excuse for gentrification, which it is a reality. But what I feel, as I'm living here, and my house has tripled in value, but I will not accept the fact that, because if housing prices are going up, if we keep making our income go up, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. But I know it's a challenge for a lot of people, and I do think, as we've looked at being able to help with the property taxes. um I don't want Black people to think that you have to be scared to be in your own area
Right.
as it's moving up, and you can't be included.
Awesome. So, as a business owner, um, particularly in real estate, um, do you feel like that's given you a leg up to be able to make some of the improvements and the deals that you've been able to make? Do you feel like you've utilized your experience in that realm to create the opportunities that you've been able to create in the political and the community realm? Like, how has your life as a business owner influenced your life as a public servant?
Well, I have to say that, great question. I have to say that at the end, because I have worked so much for the city, usually at this point, I'm mainly, it's hard for me to take a lot of clients, because real estate clients, because when you really like, usually buying a home is the biggest purchase that anybody is gonna make in their entire life, unless you are somebody who has a lot of money. But in my early years as a real estate agent, I was so adamant about, once I found out about real estate, because like I told you, my family didn't know about real estate. I didn't know about real estate. Once I found out about that real estate thing, Michael, I was like, how did we not even know this? That, because in my mind, and this is so warped, in my mind, once I got to the point that I had finished college, I found a job, my mindset coming from public housing was, oh my God, I got an apartment that was not Section 8. So I felt like I had arrived from this apartment that was not Section 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to me, if my mindset was like that, I knew it was a lot of people mindset that's like that. So by the time I did get my real estate license, because the lady, and how I got interested in real estate, the lady that sold my sister, Michael Vick's mom, her house, she talked to me about, maybe I'll be good in real estate. I didn't know anything about real estate, which is really sad, because when you come from a place that everybody, the only language is Section 8, public housing, all of that, at some point you really have to sit in it to really know that that's really sad, because that means if the parents don't know anything but that, that means they're going to raise their children with nothing but that mindset.
Right.
And I think that's really sad. And so as I went out into the community, I just really want to make people know, and everybody is not going to want to buy a house, because buying a house, it comes with a lot of things. You're not going to have to be able to call the rental office anymore. You got to fix stuff. So
Right.
I've done a lot of workshops to help people understand about home ownership. What I think the biggest thing about home ownership is that it helps us build wealth, but at the same time, as you're talking about, like here now, and if you don't mind me sharing honestly,
Hmm.
I built my house here now on at 625 Ivy. You know, I bought this house at $120,000. Now the assessment is at 307. So yeah, all of my taxes and everything going up, but because I'm in real estate, I'm happy about it going up. But I have to think about the people who are on a fixed income,
Hmm.
and when their property value goes up, when their assessments go up, they are struggling, because your as your assessment goes up, they tie that into your mortgage payment. But we do, as a city, we do have a program where we are able to help families, but you still have to be at a certain age. I want to say at 65 and over to be able to help get assistance. But the thing that I wish I could tell people about real estate is that you also don't want to jump into it. You have to know your own timing, credit wise, income wise. Don't just do it. And sometimes for people, rental is the best way,
Right.
because you don't have to have anybody. You don't have to, once you own a home. If my uh, roof goes bad, I have to pay. But if you're not ready for that, you need to just think about staying in rental. I don't think it's like a rush thing to own a house. You have to be prepared. And that's what I do to all my buyers. Make them be
Right.
prepared.
Okay.
So did I stay on
So
track on the question? Because I always say, I always talk a lot.
no,
So did I stay on track?
you absolutely did. You absolutely did. Um, like I said, I do a lot of research,
Mhm.
and for lack of better words, uh, you have uh fought against a lot of personal attacks to your character and how you've conducted business as a public servant, but you've still
Right.
been able to persevere and still be able to produce. Um and
You put that so nicely, Michael. You put that so nice. I love that. I love how you did that. I love
uh
that.
you know, how have you been able to be as embattled as you've been in the past, but yet still be able to produce in such a prolific way? Like what do you attribute that to?
Well, you know what? First of all, my mom, Lord knows I wish she was still alive. Because one thing about her, when you have a mom like my mom, Khalifa Vick, and she was a country girl that married my country daddy. They moved here from North Carolina. Things didn't work out, but the strength of her, because he was physically abusive to my mom. This was
Mhm.
in the 70s, right? No, like my mom didn't even have any kind of professional degree. She just kind of worked here and there, clean people's houses. But I'm gonna tell you one thing about that doggone Khalifa Vick. She wasn't gonna let no man beat on her, and she left that joker, and we moved to Really Circle. But I say it like that. I say it with that sassiness to say, this doggone country woman, when it was a time that women had to stay with these men, because there were no jobs. They had to they had to endure so much abuse. But this doggone Khalitha Vick, my mama, she left that doggone joker, took us to really circle, and we never looked back. But the reason I say that story so proudly, and I talk about it in my book, because that lesson right there taught me the strength of my mom. And it taught me the strength of what she was putting in her children. That you don't take nothing off of nobody. And that's what she taught me. And so for me, part of the reason that I've been attacked by some people is because when you are not, particularly in this politics, when you're not a go along to get along person, like I'm trying not to use no kind of like racial kind of terrible kind of stuff, like I could really talk to you about if we have lunch. I'm trying to make your show respectful, but
Make sure you adjust your camera because it's cutting. You're leaving
oh,
off the screen.
so I should keep it like that
Yes.
right here. So I'm
Mhm.
trying not to make your show turn bad, but from my mom, I learned that you know when you stand for something, you don't worry about who's gonna come and attack you, because if you really stand for something that has traditionally been just like I talk about, you know, fighting for the improvements of this Lord Jefferson Avenue corridor. That's what we call it. All those improvements. Do you think, Michael, do you think in politics that somebody, the powers that be, who are particularly rich white men, do you think somebody wants some kind of black girl coming from downtown looking in the budget, trying to make stuff better?
Right.
Do you think, how do you think they're gonna look at me? Well, like they did look at me. Well, we're calling this person because we don't really understand what Tina is doing. We don't understand. She's talking in the meeting. Guess what? She's talking in the meetings. Okay, okay, all right. Because I'm talking in the meetings because I have ideas. And now look at my ideas. Look at Jefferson Avenue now. So y'all, wealthy white men, not gonna stop me from talking in the meetings to make my community better. Because in the realm of politics, just like they did with President Barack Obama, government has been wealthy white men. Do you think they want to see a little black woman from downtown Newport News coming up there with some ideas? So I know I'm saying it to say, I know why they attacked me.
Mm.
I know where my attacks came from. As long as I didn't sit there and be, you know what, just you sit here and be a good little girl. So that's
Wow.
why I've been able to that's why I've been able to uphold the attacks, because I know my attacks were because I was smart, because I was outspoken, because I had ideas. The media can make it look different, and of course let me get the camera right. And of course the people who ignited these um attacks. And it was shocking and very hurtful. I can't deny that. But what I am not going to be able to allow the attacks to do is to make me stop making decisions to make my community and my people who I serve have a better life. And
Mm.
so that's why I keep running, because their attacks, as y'all can see, y'all can attack me. You can't never get me out of office from y'all little attacks, which you know they are not the truth. You can even the guy who came to try to um get me out of office and get a petition. You know what? Let's see how that works. And so, it's politics. And it is, and honestly, it is hurtful, particularly when I've worked so hard. I've worked very hard for this community,
Mhm.
and so it is very hurtful. But the hurtfulness transitions into the people who love you, and when they see it on the news, the love from the people who call to say, "Girl, we got you," and then when they tell you who these people really are, um, I just think, which I don't minimize the attacks, but what I do appreciate are the people who hear about it and want to come to your rescue, because some of these people, they don't want change, and particularly even as you're working for your black community, they don't want anybody coming around saying, you know what, you need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and stop hanging on the corner and slinging drugs and stuff. You need to get a job. They don't want nobody saying that. And the women, and even with the women, you know what? Guess what? Y'all can keep on calling me about trying to find y'all a place to live when y'all keep having all these kids by all these men and they not taking care of you. They don't want to hear those truths like that.
Wow.
And those are the things that I know have caused me to be able to be in the fire. But to me, after I've been in the fire, I bet you one thing, which I have heard from a lot of people, because if you've been in a community that has not had any rules, when you get somebody to say, "Look, look, baby," which I'm not being mean, "Look, look, let me tell you something. You just can't keep on having all these kids by these men, and you don't have no stability. If you have to call me for a place to stay as a councilwoman, that's a problem."
Okay.
When you really have to talk to people like that.
Now you do realize that what you just said is very very controversial.
Right.
As I listen to you even say this, I can hear the public backlash, right? From what you said. But I mean, it goes to your strength and it goes to your passion, which I was talking to you, about earlier.
No,
You
but
truly,
what would you think would be the public backlash?
well, anytime racial stereotypes um are expressed, particularly by people of color, there's always a few that will be like, "Oh, we ain't all like that. Why you say that?" Da 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 da.
No, 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 and I'm not saying we are all like that. Like I said, the people who have called me,
Hmm.
I want to
Okay,
clarify that the people who have called me about their problems. Everybody is not like that. I'm talking about the people who have called me about their problems for help.
understood. Going forward, what if you could encapsulate it? If you could make it like, the short version, I guess. Um, what do you see going forward? Like, what are your hopes going forward while you're in the seat?
Well, I'm hoping for continued progress. I am just so excited about looking at Newport News now, than what it was in 2008 and before, because I think the easiest thing that people can actually forget is, particularly my pride and joy, is being able to work with our city manager Neil Morgan to be able to get over $40 million of improvements, because I was running so mad about looking at 25th and Jefferson and looking up and how bad it was looking with all that wiring and the poles, and to be able to work with our city manager and just stand. Have you been in Newport News to stand at 25th and Jefferson now and look up? Have
Yeah,
you?
I mean, I have family down there now, that lives in that area. I don't live too far from that area.
Oh my
So I
gosh!
definitely know, I definitely see the improvement.
But to be able to stand there now and look up, because the biggest thing, Michael, about that with the we've been able to get the ugly wiring underground. We've got the black post lighting instead of all that ugly wiring. We have been able to secure the offices of 25 and J that the city has been able to do. We've got the market, the Aaron Brooks Market, Brooks Crossing Market.
Mhm.
That wasn't there before. But to be able to see that Brooks Crossing Market and to be able to see Hornsby Tire wanted to stay downtown. They've been a staple in the community for over 60 years. And they're still here. And then to be able to go over to Marshall Avenue to see the Heritage Forest Apartments. That was I want to say a little over 100 units that one of my investors worked with me on. And we got the women on council to be able to support that, provide new housing for people. Our Brennan Point, Nolan Green, and I'm talking about down here. But then, since I've been on council, look at our tech center with all those shops,
Absolutely.
our tech center, and all. And because we've done a staple for some of those things, other people are coming in. Other investors are coming in. We've worked diligently with our school board in Newport News. We are actually working as a team now, and that has been great. And I think that Newport News is so much on the upswing because we are really not just looking at things individually, but looking at society, looking at our city more holistically with a strategic plan to make our city better, which will of course make the lives of citizens better. And that's what I'm so excited about.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. We are up right almost right at an hour, and I want to be respectful of your time. So I just want to ask. I just have one more official question for you. It is a question that I ask all my guests. I just want you to take a moment and think about it and give me the most honest and transparent answer that you can give me. And here's the question: what would have to happen in your life, if it hasn't happened already, for you to consider your life a success? What does success look like for you specifically?
I really think success for me. I'm not a I'm not a big diamonds pearls kind of girl. Like having to have all this success for me in my own life is to actually be daughter of this amazing mother that has taught us about standing up for things that have not been the best in your life, and having and being able to persevere. I don't even think I have, like, braggadociously, like, to say, well, I helped I helped this get this, and I, mine is more internal. Mine is more internal from my mother's life. From she loved her plump brown children. That's what she called it. She loved her plump brown children. She just loved us. When you have grown up with a mother that loves you so much, like, anything you do, just like I tell people, and they laugh at me, just being able to be born Tina Vick has been an accomplishment for me, for my mom. I don't even have to have all these other things. The other things are extra. But for me, being born to my mom as her daughter is really one of the things that I love.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I want to thank you again for coming on to the platform. I know that you're super busy. I want to extend to you an open invitation to come back whenever you feel like you want to promote or talk about something, or you just want to come on. You just want to come on. Please let me know, and we will absolutely make it happen. If somebody wanted to get in touch with you, maybe to ask a question, or maybe to find out a little bit more about what you're doing in the community, how can they get in touch with you?
Oh, they think it's Vick on Facebook, on Instagram. They find me on there, and hopefully even through your platform, if once you publish it, if they want to talk to me, but they can actually really connect with me on any of my platforms, social media and Instagram at Tina Elvet.
Awesome, awesome. Is there anything you want to leave with the people before we sign off?
Oh, I just want to say thank you, Michael, for this interview. It really has been such a time for me to just share some of the personal sides of me, some of the things that people really don't get to know as you're doing those things, and anything they need to talk to me about further, they can connect with me. But I thank you for this time for this interview.
Awesome. And thank you again. I appreciate you. I definitely learned more.
So
I'm sorry, excuse you went out. What'd you say?
I said I wish you much more success on your show.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. And I wish you much blessings on everything that you um, have accomplished, and the things that you plan to accomplish, and the things that you might not have even imagined in your mind yet.
Thank you.
I will also want to again congratulate your family on the Norfolk State coaching
Yes.
hire. That's amazing. That would be awesome to speak with him a little bit, but we'll pray about it.
Right.
We'll connect
We'll
about
see.
that.
We'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, that definitely would be awesome. But again, thank you for coming on the platform. And again, there's an open invitation for you to come back whenever you want to. We also do panels. We also do kind of like think tanks where we discuss certain issues, certain things that happen in our community and in the media, different stuff like that. And I would love to hear your viewpoint on a lot of those things as well.
Oh yeah. Well, keep me on your list because I'm not a person that's nervous about being controversial. And so because I think that with most honesty, that's how we come with the best solutions. And I love that you're
Absolutely.
doing this.
Absolutely. I appreciate you.
I
Thank you
appreciate you
again.
too.
Absolutely. I wish you a great night and a great rest of the weekend. Enjoy your holiday. Enjoy your holiday weekend. Don't get in any trouble. Don't eat too much.
Right.
And we definitely will be in touch.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much for this opportunity. And thank you.
Absolutely. No
All right.
problem. You have an amazing night.
You too.
There you have it, guys. Another amazing interview with another amazing guest. Shout out to Ms. Vick and the whole her whole team. Shout out to Michelle Grant, her campaign manager, assistant. Super gracious, super amazing. Um, I love doing these interviews because I learn so much. Some things I learn without even, some things I don't expect. I didn't expect her to be so candid, but then again, that's amazing. You know, honesty is the catalyst of change. It's one of the keys to change. So with that being said, guys, I want to thank you for coming on the platform. I mean, watching this interview. I thank you for supporting. I thank those that will come on and watch the playback later. As always, I encourage you, if there's something that God has placed within your heart to do, a vision, or whatever, step out on faith, do it now. do it now. If it's a script, if it's a song, if it's a degree, if it's a new job, if it's whatever, step out and allow God to show you who he truly is. Because there's, a remnant of folks that are also waiting, for you to do what you do in order for them to reach their ultimate destiny. So I encourage you, get up, start walking, step out. All right. With that being said, I wish y'all a good night, man, and let's take a walk.